This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
They're putting forward a package of bills related to the cost of health care.
Most parents have no idea this is happening. An army of terrorists going after our children.
15 minutes is all you need for a Christmas party.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. It's not over till it's over. There may be another vote on health care costs coming after the failed vote in the Senate Thursday. Chuck Schumer had this to say.
Senate Republicans just shoved the American people off the side of a cliff with no parachute and with an anchor tied to their feet.
Schumer angered that the Obamacare subsidies were not extended. Premiums could double after the first of the year. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said today just extend Obamacare until a new plan is in place.
People are going to die, and I don't understand why they can't just extend these subsidies so that we can save people's lives while they figure out whatever their political food fight is.
But Senator John Thune says the old system doesn't work.
You can't just do a blanket extension without reforms. It is rife with waste, fraud, and abuse. It's been driving up insurance premiums for people in this country at 3 times the rate of inflation. You've got to have some reforms to make this work.
CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns.
Two sides are very much at odds, but what we are watching heading into next week is the Senate bills failed yesterday, but the House is supposed to take up legislation next week. They are saying that they're putting forward a package of bills related to the costs of health care. We don't yet know exactly what that looks like.
Snowplow drivers are hard at work in New York and Pennsylvania, clearing out all that snow from the last day and a half. Syracuse alone got over 30 inches so far this month, and winter hasn't even started yet. Those behind the plow are weary.
I can't plan a Christmas dinner. I can't plan Thanksgiving.
Driver Richard Ross tells Spectrum News he'd give up every holiday with his family just to make sure the roads are safe.
There's no price on somebody's life.
It's a roller coaster of weather this week. Will be 18 degrees with snow on Sunday, 42 by Wednesday. Kevin Williams has your full forecast in a few minutes. New York Governor Kathy Hochul made a pit stop in Western New York today. She was at Maple West Elementary in Williamsville touting the state's new universal school meals law.
That is a rousing group of young people, and it was exciting just to come out and say hi to the kids all dressed in their Buffalo Bills gear.
Hochul saying the state has given out $150 million in meals since September, 2.5 million meals a day.
We want every child, to ensure that they have nutritious meals, breakfast and lunch, get them through the school day.
In Washington, senators spent the week hearing from parents about predators who are scouting their children online.
We make great speeches here, but when it comes to taking them to the floor, we drop the ball completely.
Do you all agree that we've, as a nation, miserably failed our children? That we have hearings and we talk and we've done very little to protect them?
Yes. Parents answering Lindsey Graham there. New data shows 23,000 kids were sex-extorted in 6 months last year. Senator Chuck Grassley is co-sponsoring a set of bills that would make the coercion of children online a federal crime.
Our laws have not kept up with the advancement of social media.
Ashley Moody is on the Senate Homeland Security Committee.
Most parents have no idea this is happening. We really are the first generation that is having to deal with an army of terrorists going after our children. Some of them are in other nations, and they are getting to our kids in their bedrooms.
Making America's roads safe again. That was the banner behind Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy today as he held a press conference telling New York Governor Kathy Hochul she has 30 days to revoke all CDL driver's licenses of illegal immigrants, or she's going to lose $73 million in federal highway funds.
You're not just risking the lives of your citizens, you're risking the life of every citizen on American roadways if there's an unlawfully issued commercial driver's license, because these truckers drive around the country.
Currently, approximately 32,000 CDL driver's licenses issued by the New York State DMV are in use across America. 100,000 people are facing evacuations in Washington state because of floodwaters.
I moved here in 2013, and this is the worst I've ever seen it, and it's scary.
First responders are using boats to pluck people to safety north of Seattle.
Most of our rescues, we've had people sitting on the hood or the roof of their car out here.
In Skagit County, a dozen rivers reached flood stage, some over the roofs of houses. Area businesses are facing a coin shortage now that the U.S. Mint has stopped making pennies. Denny Lyles runs the Twin Pine Farm Country Store in York, Pennsylvania. He says even though 80% of his sales are cashless, they still need the 1-cent piece.
We go through about $7 to $10 worth of pennies a week.
Store owners like Lyles have started rounding up and rounding down prices to even out the change at the checkout line. They're even buying pennies now from customers due to the shortage.
Everybody's just bringing us pennies, and we're buying pennies from people, and everybody's dropping this stuff off, and it's been amazing.
Steve Sinchabas of Red Lion sold a jar of pennies recently at a grocery store near him. He's thinking of maybe expanding his business.
It's Christmas season, right? Maybe I'll wrap up a few pennies and give them away as gifts.
The U.S. Mint says there's currently anywhere from 250 to 300 billion pennies in circulation, and they're still allowed as legal tender. Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, more on the president in the Poconos, Bruce Blakeman's run for governor, and New York's medical aid in dying bill. A deep dive on all three big stories from this week with our Capital Connection crew after weather.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Williams with a check of your Family Life regional weekend forecast for tonight. Well, skies that start partly cloudy for many, but turn out cloudy. There'll be some lake effect snow late tonight from Buffalo north to Niagara. A few scattered flurries near Lake Erie otherwise, and most other areas stay snow-free. Low temperatures, mostly in the teens. Now, for tomorrow it's cloudy with snow in varying intensities and coverages, but overall it's a wintry day, high temps, 20s and low 30s.
Thank you, Kevin. It is Friday, and that means we check in with our Capital Connection crew, Michael Gear of PA Family and Jason McGuire with New York Families. Hosting is our own Bob Price. We start with the takeaways from the president in the Poconos. Let's listen in.
He had a campaign-style speech in the Pocono Mountains dealing with the economy, inflation, and all those issues that will resonate so much with the voters. How is this playing out in Pennsylvania?
Well, it certainly is an issue. I mean, we saw the elections last month in places like New York City and New Jersey and Virginia, where affordability was sort of the key word. You just mentioned it. We hear it all the time. And you walk into any grocery store in Scranton or Erie, and you'll hear the same thing. People are stunned at the cash register. I was meeting the other day with some Christian school leaders, and they said enrollment is down this year. In some measure, that's because of affordability, which is why we push so hard for school choice. So I'm glad the president is taking it head on, but it's a big challenge.
Yeah, and we've heard it so many times, Jason. The party in power tends to lose seats in a midterm election, and that party is the Republican Party. So how many seats will they lose in New York? I know the governor has made affordability the central theme of her campaign as well. We've got another Republican thrown in the mix, Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. So it should be an interesting primary next year. But how vulnerable are Republicans when it comes to control of Congress?
Well, I think they're very vulnerable for much of what we've already talked about. The issue is affordability, and it is the party in power. They do have the responsibility to take some actions, and we have been critical at our organization concerning some of the federal deficits that are going on. So I think there is a real problem for Republicans. We're watching what has happened even in Miami with that mayoral race, where now that has tipped for a Democrat candidate for the first time in 30 years, and those are all warning signs for a Republican Party that they have got to be responsive to the needs of the American people if they want to retain power.
All right, we'll see if they can turn that ship around. Michael, I want to bring this issue up because it's such an issue in New York, and I know it's been talked about in Pennsylvania as well. Why is physician-assisted suicide not just unethical, but also immoral? And what happens when a culture begins to accept this practice as a form of health care?
Yeah, it's very troubling. What would have been described as murder and prosecuted as murder just a few years ago is now being promoted and accepted as this so-called medical aid in dying or physician-assisted suicide. If we truly believe believe, and we do, that every human life is made in the image of God and possesses inherent dignity from womb until natural death, then we shouldn't be drawing an exception and suggesting that we have this personal autonomy that lets us choose death when we want to. God is the author and giver of life, and also the one who should be determining when our ultimate life on earth ends. The reason that it's so immoral is just it violates God's creation order, the biblical principles. And then what we see in Canada is they start out with people who are terminally ill. Now, too, we have teens and others, just because their romance is not going well, being put to death.
Yeah. Fifth leading cause of death in Canada now is physician-assisted suicide, according to the Colson Center. Just mind-boggling. I know, Jason, you know this name, Jack Kevorkian. This was a guy decades ago. They nicknamed him Dr. Death, who was pushing doctor-assisted suicide. But now it could be law. Will Governor Hochul sign this medical aid in dying bill? Do you think that last week's protest, which you were involved with, had any impact on her decision-making this late in the game?
You know, I think we're still waiting to see with bated breath what the governor is going to do on this issue of state-sanctioned suicide. But I do think that efforts that are making a difference, like the candlelight vigils that were held in 4 cities across New York last week, like the 25,000 communications that have been pouring into her office opposing this, are causing pause. If this was a bill that she wanted to sign, I think she would have quickly done so. She is proposing some amendments. We're waiting to see whether the advocates for state-sanctioned suicide will find themselves agreeable to those. If there's a rift there between what the governor wants, what the legislature and those advocates for assisted suicide want, well, that bill could just be vetoed and not become law. And I would encourage listeners all across your listening range to be in prayer for the governor that God will turn her heart to do what is right on this issue.
For several years now, I think it goes back to 2019, under the Cuomo administration, New York has not allowed religious exemptions for childhood immunizations. But that could be changing. If you would explain what's going on in the courts when it comes to vaccine mandates in New York.
Yeah, you're correct. And our friends at First Liberty are actually challenging that in court. What's interesting is First Liberty and these Amish individuals lost the case in 2 federal courts. But then as they got to the Supreme Court said, wait a second, there was a decision back in June known as Mahmoud versus Taylor. That was a religious liberty case I think will also aid parental rights in many ways. And Supreme Court said to the lower court, the Second Circuit, you need to go back and take a look at this case in light of Mahmoud. And that indicates that the Supreme Court may very well be willing to see those religious exemptions return for students in New York and all across the country.
You can subscribe, listen to, and share Capital Connection and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Most people don't realize how much money they could save simply by asking. Hi, I'm Rob West with another Faith and Finance Minute. When done wisely, negotiation honors both stewardship and relationships. Proverbs 15:1 says, "A gentle answer turns away wrath." And that's even true when talking price. Before you negotiate, do your homework. Know what's fair, whether it's for a car, an appliance, or your internet bill. Then kindly ask if there's room to lower the price or match a competitor. Many companies offer unadvertised discounts, loyalty rewards, or lower rates to those who simply ask. Just remember, saving money isn't wrong, but we should never seek a deal at someone else's expense. Negotiating well isn't just financial savvy. It's a way to steward God's money with wisdom and humility. Manage your finances wisely with the easy-to-use FaithFi app. Download FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store, or learn more at faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, how short was your shortest Christmas party? How about 15 minutes start to finish? We've got that story after one last look at weather.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Williams with a check of your Family Life regional weekend forecast. Couple of factors in play. An Arctic cold front that's going to generate more lake effect and falling temperatures. And an area of low pressure out of the lower Midwest is going to bring a general light snowfall to much of Pennsylvania Saturday and Saturday night. In short, winter lives for a while. Our call for tonight: well, skies that start partly cloudy for many but turn out cloudy. There'll be some lake effect snow late tonight from Buffalo north through Niagara. A few scattered flurries near Lake Erie otherwise, and most other areas stay snow-free. Low temperatures, mostly in the teens. Now, for tomorrow it's cloudy with snow in varying intensities and coverages, but overall it's a wintry day, high temps, 20s and low 30s. And snow tomorrow night, and then localized lake effect snow south and southeast of Lake Erie, Ontario Sunday. Much colder day Sunday with high temperatures mostly in the teens and lower 20s.
All right, Kevin, finally at 5, the 15-minute Christmas party.
15 minutes is all you need for a dadgum Christmas party.
That's the voice of Representative Tim Burchett, a U.S. congressman from Tennessee. He likes to host Christmas parties on Capitol Hill that are succinct.
Well, we did 16 minutes last year, and I kind of felt like it dragged a little bit. Just went a little long.
He just hosted one this week, and hundreds of people showed up, from members of Congress to Capitol workers to the press.
We are 2 minutes away from the Christmas party. As you can see, the line is down the hallway. Do you think it's really going to be 15 minutes?
I think it's going to be longer than 15 minutes from the looks of this crowd. Everybody welcome, come on in.
The party also on a congressional budget. The charcuterie was cheese from a spray can and some Ritz crackers. Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, a big fan.
You know, I really appreciate the cheeses of the aerosol family.
And then time's up. Burchett shoos everybody out the door at the 15-minute mark. He was asked if votes in Congress should also be limited to 15 minutes.
Absolutely. We could do it in 15 minutes.
The 15-minute Christmas party on Capitol Hill that has full bipartisan support. And that's the world that we live in for Friday, the 12th of December. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.